Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining for the SIG K8s Infra March 2nd bi-weekly call. My name is Eddie Zaneski and I'll be your host today. Just a quick reminder before we begin, this meeting and all Kubernetes meetings abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so please be excellent to each other. With that, do we have any new folks on the call that would like to introduce themselves?
Yes, it's me. Let me turn my camera. So,
sorry, we didn't hear you correctly. So,
sorry, it's me. Hi guys. So I'm new here, and I'm new to actually open source. So I just cleared my CKA certified Kubernetes administrator exam over the weekend. I'm new to Kubernetes, and the company that I work for, we are like not going full-fledged with the Kubernetes yet, but we are exploring the Kubernetes option. I got opportunity to get this certification and explore the open source world. So I'm here with you guys, and yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Cool. So diving into our recurring topics, do we want to walk through the billing report?
I think we want to do that because we basically beginning of the month of March.
All right.
So
let me share my screen. Okay. So that number looks normal to me. And storage might be a little higher. Yeah, maybe just a bit. Did we have, oh, I know you have something?
Yeah, I introduced a new cost in basically in the K8s artifact product. Basically, if you what you see maybe over one of the line, you will see cloud CDN for, yeah, and let me find the pull request I did for that.
Yeah, that's the amount. Cool.
So I paste in the chat basically the pull request that enable that service, and basically this is done for the bucket hosting the binaries for CAPS. So I enable the Google CDN service for that to basically be able to first understand how things are, how this is working, and also see if we can basically reduce the bill related to egress for this bucket. So, and I did this exactly on January 30 or something like that. So if you switch the date, you basically check from January 20, or 29 if you want.
Yeah, that looks closer to what we're expecting. Cool.
So there is direct impact in the cost for the compute engine in the K8s artifact project, because we see, I think if we go on page 6 or something like that. Yeah, compared to, I'm not sure we go. Yeah, I think you may want to say Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Because these pages, if you check for artifact prods, you will see basically increases the cloud CDN service because there is no baseline, and I'm trying to see if we can locate get artifact prod somewhere.
Sorted by project.
Yeah, yeah. I hope this is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically now we serve those artifacts using Cloud CDN, which means we don't basically we don't pay for the load balancer.
Awesome.
Now, if you go on basically page 5, if you basically switch the date between big end of, I think February 1st to now, yeah, I think that's accurate. If you filter by, if you just filter that project, you will. Okay. So that's gonna be an average of the cost we have for this project in the future. It's still a high cost. So, but it's, if I did some comparison between the previous months, is a little less than what you pay, than what we pay. So
cool.
But February is, we missed 2 days in the calculation because February has only 28 days. So we still need to monitor that during next month.
Okay.
So Arno, this amount, not the one on screen, but the one before, that includes both GCS and GCR, right?
No, that's just oh, for the service cloud storage is GCS and GCR.
Both, okay, yeah.
Now Cloud CDN basically is only used for one specific GCS bucket. And computing engine is also for this specific bucket.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I ended up picking Adolfo and asking for, hey, do we have any statistics on how many things get downloaded, which versions, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I saw the issue about that. The one thing I can say is we can do that. We don't have access to that information for the system packages and the binaries because those are still inside Google infrastructure.
Right.
I mean, the system package are fully inside Google infrastructure, and the binaries are partially between the community infrastructure and Google because we, at some point, we stopped the migration because of the underlying cost of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. At some point, we'll end up doing it, but I want to just tag it so we remember to do it at some point in time.
Cool. Yeah, everything else looks what we'd expect. Okay, next up is Caleb yet?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, cool. All right, Caleb, I'll toss over to you.
Thank you very much. Any chance you would still be able to share your screen, please? For the link in the doc. Yeah, so I'm just looking for a LGTM for this thing. It's the context is it pulls in data from AWS's Cost Explorer and then eventually will make its way to a data studio report like we just saw. And this allows us to bring in those costs that we aren't currently tracking from AWS into how we manage the billing for the periods of time.
I guess that's you, Arno. You want to be assigned to that? You're muted.
Sorry, me and Tim already approved that pull request. It just needs a LGTM, but I still have some questions about the pull request. I understand the idea you bring in and what you want to do. My main concern is basically the information we want to extract from that, because you don't filter per Amazon account, right?
It's pulling in data from the highest level CNCF Amazon account, and then from there, there's each sub project which has been pulled in, and you can see all of the cost per project kind of stuff.
Yeah, because my main concern is, do we need, I mean, I don't see value to get the cost from the other CNCF project. I think that's my main issue. That's my first issue. And also, I'm concerned about the cost for hosting that information, because currently there are basically huge data set inside the GCP project, and that costs us something.
For the moment, there's very little in there, and we don't expect that. And this is part of the broader strategy, where we're going to bring in, at the moment, we're just looking at AWS, at the cost within GCP every month. And when we start distributing, we want to be able to show where, okay, this is what's going on in our Google credits, and this is what's going on in our Amazon credits. So it's looking forward to where we're going. So that's why we need this, so we can have two billing reports and say this is how much runway we've got left to keep going.
Okay, so my question remains, why K8s Infra care about the other CNCF project?
Yeah, well, in other words,
Can we basically, if we want to,
the thing that is relevant to us, right?
Yeah.
The way the AWS accounts is structured at the moment, we can't split it out. And the specific account that, so this is kind of sandbox of see how it's going to go. There's no rule that it has to stay this way. So it's trying to get it up and see that we get it working with what's in there. And as we know, the account for AWS is not set up as it should be for production to host any registries yet. And at the end of the day, I think we would probably likely show only the registries, similar like we're doing at the moment for the Google side.
Yeah, I think we should just merge and iterate. So let's do that.
Okay, the second question is, why not store that inside Amazon? Because you can connect Data Studio to Amazon directly.
Is that so? I didn't realize that.
Basically, there is a connector inside Data Studio. You export the Cost Explorer data inside what Amazon call Amazon Redshift, and you connect the Data Studio to that, and you basically have that information. Because what you want is basically information. You want to visualize something. You don't necessarily need to export that to BigQuery. And Eddie, you basically need to create a new dashboard for that.
Maybe that could be something at a later date, because right now it just works and puts it into the BigQuery.
Okay. So I think the next step is try to filter per Amazon account. Try to see if we can just basically get the information for one account, and the one you create for SIG release / release engineering, and we can basically be able to filter per account, because I don't really see value in get all the cost information from the other CNCF project.
Yeah, let's not worry about that, Arno.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't add us too much cost to what we are doing, I think it's okay. It's marginal cost from what I can sense.
Thanks,
Okay.
James. And also the purpose here is not to add cost. The purpose is to demonstrate how we're going to actually at least half the cost or reduce the cost. So that's,
got it. Yeah.
It's a demonstration of where we're going for the future. So
yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Great work, y'all, Caleb and Rian.
Thank you.
Cool. Up next is reviewing our annual report. Do we have a PR open? We do.
We have a pull request open, and I just created draft for that. I don't know if we can basically try to file that right now. Oops. Oh, okay. Oops.
So this is funny. So going back to last week, I helped SIG testing do theirs as well. Do you want to do it the same way we did it there, Arno?
Kind of.
Thanks to both of you.
Eddie's just doing all the annual reports. That's how this is going. All right, let me.
Eddie.
Can I get some of that free help? I mean,
Hold on. Let me find it.
I put a link in the notes with basically something as a draft.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So can we hang on for doing this until there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, and then we can do this.
Okay.
Okay. Because this is going to suck up the rest of the time, right? Okay. So is there anything else on the discussion agenda? No? Okay. So the first question I have, Arno, is, are we ready to do the
Case.io?
Yeah.
Not yet, because we are missing, metrics are missing inside the proxy.
And who's doing that?
And Ben the Elder is working on that currently.
Okay.
He got pulled inside perf review last week, so we were kind of through, but he's currently working on that. I mean, that's we talked last week about that, and we agree we should basically be able to at least have 2 or 3 metrics inside the proxy and roll out. I mean, release a O1 tag of the proxy and basically do the rollout.
And metrics is required for that.
We want to have metrics for that. It's not a requirement, but it's an interesting thing to get, because at least we want to have basically a metric that express the health check to gatesgci.io. And we may have basically set up a nice alert based on that, and basically see, oh, if somehow the proxy can pull an image for kids.gci.io, we should do an action.
Okay, so let's do this. If we don't hear back from Ben by early next week, we should just go ahead with it, right?
Okay.
Like whatever is there, tag it and create the registry.case.io, because I don't want to wait, right?
Okay. Okay.
If it can help us with something, we should just go ahead and do it. And I was able to make good progress on running an E2E test where all the images are pulled from registry sandbox. And so far, I haven't found any problems yet. There were a few images that were still getting pulled from somewhere else where they shouldn't be. I have a thread going on in SIG testing channel where I'm logging either issues or filing PRs to clean them up. So far, registry-sandbox looks good, right? So that is one thing. Thanks for all your reviews there, Arno. So then the other one is, Arno, you created an issue in steering for
Yes.
yes, that is the most important one, right? So you've given 2 options there, right?
Two different programs. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pull out that from.
Right. Do you have a recommendation on which one we should use?
And technical one or marketing one? Because from a technical perspective, I would say we should go with Cloudflare, because Cloudflare has a bigger network compared to Fastly.
Okay, which will save us more money. That's the way I look at it.
Both, because the entire idea of using the CDN.
Difference in how much saving it will save about the same then.
They are under the same. Basically, both have a partnership with Google, which means both get that discount from GCP.
How much work is it for either one of them? Is it just point and click on the UI?
No, we can do that with Terraform. The goal is to basically do that with Terraform, and make sure we have everything and with some kind of infrastructure as code.
Okay, Adolfo, you have a question?
Yeah, so this is to set up a CDN. Is it related to the redirection of the blobs and things like that?
No, that's a completely different conversation.
Oh, okay. I'm not aware of. So I don't know anything about the issue. So I
think James just want to basically be able to ask me that quick question because we're in the same meeting. So this is under the artifact management cap. We have basically for everyone in the call, we have 3 kind of artifact we need to distribute. And I want to apply for a CDN program to make sure we can distribute the binaries and the system packages if we do the migration, which means we offload the infrastructure management for that and the cost to another CDN provider. So the question now is, which one is better, because both offer some kind of pricing for open source project. I don't know if it's fully free. Fastly say it's free. Cloudflare say you get a plan as an open source project. So I want to basically at least start the conversation with both of them and see which one match with our technical constraint. Because Cloudflare onboarding is very different from Fastly onboarding, just from a technical point of view.
Right.
So I'm applying, basically, I can by default, I will go with Fastly because it's mainly used by all the project I mentioned, the Apache Foundation, the Kernel Linux program, everyone. By default, I will go with Fastly, and basically they are proven to have a great support of open source project, and I think it's free if you are an open source project with them.
Fastly on the front page they say open source is for free. So if we go with them,
so we can go with that. But I also want to explore Cloudflare, because Cloudflare has a bigger network in terms of distribution, and they have compression mechanisms that can be interesting to explore. So I basically want to at least start the conversation with them and see what we can do with one of them.
If Fastly says they're free and the Cloudflare there is some cost, if there is some cost, out of what bucket is we going to pay for that? Is there
but we have to be careful, because both say it's free for open source project. I mean, if the article I put basically is say it's free. So we are not supposed to pay, but there may be some kind of condition under they mentioned is free. We need to check that because they may FASI can say, oh, we basically have limitation in terms of total bandwidth per month if we want to get an open source project. It's not mentioned in the page. Or basically,
we should just be careful that we don't sign us onto anything because this project belongs to CNCF, and if we arrive with a bill,
it's not about signing a contract. It's not about signing a contract. It's
about trying to talk to them and get information about what is involved. What are the restrictions, like Arno said, and typically there'll be some kind of marketing promotions. Then we'll have to figure out like which kind, how much logo here on a website or something like that. So we have to find out what all it means to us, for one thing. And the other thing is knowing that we already have things in the Google bucket. What is a good or an easy way for us to get into their CDN system, right? Like, what does that integration looks like? Is it
exactly
driven? Is it Terraform? Whatever, right? Like, we have to figure those things out. So I think you need to amend this, Arno, and say we want to explore Fastly first. This is not a request to like sign us up for Fastly, but this is a request to talk to Fastly to get enough information, and then we make a decision, right? Like, so break it up into two parts, because it's easier for the steering to give you permission to go talk to Fastly than if you say, hey, we need to sign up, apply for one of these programs. Okay. Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
And also, if we tell Fastly what is the shape of the things we're doing, because we have all the data to show them, then they can say, oh, there's no way we can carry this, or absolutely bring it on.
It might be too much for them. Yeah. Go ahead, Eddie.
I was going to echo all of that. That conversation should be had formally with steering and Chris from the CNCF, because Fastly is going to be really generous, but we are dumping a massive production workload on them. So yeah, I think we should have like the broader Kubernetes leadership involved in that.
Absolutely. So the way I look at it is Arno is going to talk to them, and there'll be a proposal which we're going to circulate, and then all of us have to sign off on it, including SIG release, and then we turn things on or whatever we need to do.
Yeah. I will clarify that in the issue. The first idea is exploration. Have a conversation with one of them, see what they can offer, or what are the technical limitations of the service.
Yes.
If that fit, before we even think about, hey, let's have a contract with them, talk about article marketing.
Yeah, no, you're right, Arno. Good, sounds good. We are on the same page. Adolfo.
Yeah, just a quick one. So also, I think it's important to keep in mind that just as we've seen with the image mirroring things, we have very few hands on the promoter right now. So changes there take a while. So if it's a complicated setup on that side, it can take some time.
I want to just clarify something. I'm not saying we buy 125. We basically use Fastly.
Take another,
we have many things I think we need to deal with, and me personally, I have many things happening in the next 3 months. So right now I want to start a conversation now, so we are sure by end of year we make a technical decision, a final decision about what is the strategy. I just don't want to wait by end of the year to start the conversation. I prefer to start the conversation now and have final conclusion in maybe 3 to 5 months.
Exactly. So I usually see, so most of us are volunteers here, and things come at the best pace that we can deliver them. But now with the budget and things, we kind of have a deadline that's so that's why I bring this up.
Yeah, got it. So Arno, when you email them, just CC me so I'm in the loop.
It's not an email. Someone inside steering need to file for in the form inside the page I gave, and they will contact you.
You want one of us to do it?
Yeah,
So
I want one of the. Yeah.
Make it clear, and I will go ahead and start that conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any question?
Yeah, that's all I had. Is there anything else important that is blocking anyone? I'm basically asking Rian and Caleb here.
No, nothing from our side for the
Okay.
moment.
Okay, sounds good. So let's go back to the annual report. I do need to drop off to pick up my son. So that's why I was trying to hustle you up quickly so I can go. Thanks a lot, everyone. And so Arno, when you make an update to this issue, then I will work on it, okay? Thank you, bye.
Thanks, Tim. I'm going to pull up SIG testing next to this one so I have something to look at. Where was that sent? That was sent. This one. Okay. So what work did the SIG do this year that should be highlighted? Well, became a real SIG, became an actual SIG from a working group. Let's see. Aaron is usually really good at keeping track of this stuff. He definitely has stuff in the agenda on this. Let's scroll back in our agenda.
Sorry, are we asking about what we did last year?
Yeah.
Basically, mainly pro migration. And
one.
Yeah, I would say migration of the 6 scalability jobs. I think is if you, yeah, I mean, not the migration, but a setup of a community, because it's not a migration. We basically bootstrap an instance and see how things happening. We also we basically trigger new calls related to the 5K nodes job from 6 scalability. They are merge blocking, so which means.
Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for.
Yep.
Done since we last met.
Okay.
These are all big. What are the ones we want to call out and highlight?
Not everything, but this one got closed because we didn't have consensus about this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a consensus, but it's not written in a policy. I think I don't see it true. I don't see that as a success. It's more like a clarification of an existing but non-document policy. The other thing we did, it basically set up the platform for election. So election case.io is now under K8s Infra.
Any other work we want to highlight?
I want to say we succeed to not make Jim run.
Jim?
Yeah,
You wanna
because
add- Sorry, go ahead.
Still here.
Do we want to add some analysis of distribution per provider?
yeah. We succeed to identify the source of the curse burden for K8s.io. That's an amazing job.
Maybe we should list the main culprits.
It's fine.
No.
Cool. Okay, well, this is a collaborative doc, so everyone feel free to add things you
Comments. We still have, like, I think it's 2 weeks until we close. We finish this report, so feel free to drop things you think need to drop in that document.
know. This was due yesterday, my friend.
No,
No, it wasn't? Okay.
no. I think it's March for 14 or something like that.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Don't tell me that.
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be opened a few weeks ago and merged yesterday. It'll say right here. Yeah. That's okay. Steven hasn't yelled at you yet, so it's okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, so initiatives that we are working on that aren't being tracked in KEPs. A lot.
Migrate away from K8s.io to
Community-owned resources.
Community-owned resources. This is not a KEP. Basically, we collaboration with SIG release about container image signature.
Is there an umbrella issue for this one?
For the
Yeah,
signatures,
it's
I thought there was a cap for this.
for the
Yeah, for
migration or the
Happy made one.
yeah, for the redirection, there is one. I think it was like
I think 4,000, if I'm not mistaken.
something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh no, it's not the same thing. What EP made it a policy about distribution, but the proxy it's a different approach. At some point they're gonna converge, but what EP Open is basically have a policy about basically how we want to distribute container image to other cloud provider. But currently we're working on basically set up on ownership of the proxy for K8s.io. And it's now under SIG release because it's SIG release, not K8s Infra.
Sorry, I'm just taking a read really quick.
There's definitely an umbrella issue too.
Yeah, okay, that's the cap basically ran open, but there is a pull request open for that associated to that. Basically the 3055, the first one. You just missed that.
Where is it? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a different one though. This is artifact specific.
There was, I think there was one that I opened a long time ago.
I know this one exists because Aaron is always updating it.
Oh, you need to go on K8s.io repo issue 1469, if I'm correct. Yeah, oh, it's
146. There we go. That's it. Thank you. This is the big one.
yeah, this is the big one. Basically, this is an ongoing. Now, what Caleb mentioned is part of that because we still need to. Basically, Google can open source the tooling related to the management of K8s.io, so we need to build a new one.
Okay. What other big initiatives that aren't tracked in KEPs?
Ownership of code search.
Ownership of code search. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a tracking issue for that too?
Somewhere. Yes.
This one.
2513.
Yeah, where to host the, yeah,
Or that one.
exactly. Ownership code search. Jim is working on that. There's no blocker on that currently, Jim. I think everything
Yeah.
got merged. So we need to just build the image and start the deployment.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how. I don't know how the provisioning gets triggered. It didn't seem to auto trigger.
Okay, ping me on Slack. I would tell you you just basically need to open a pull request and get that merge.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you want to talk about the organization that we did where all the apps are under /apps now?
Yes. Yeah, consolidation of
community deployed applications.
Yeah. Jim posts the issue in the chat.
Thank you. All right, anything else? Okay. Okay, KEP work. So we do have KEPs. Did you deleted the stubbing in here? Let's see.
I don't think we are.
We don't have a stable. So what we should track the KEP that Hippie and I worked on, right?
Yeah.
Mention that's this one. Yeah. Okay. So what is this state? You'd say this is.
It's a policy, but it's not. We use the KEP as a mechanism to express the policy. But
Okay.
it's mainly a policy about how we want to basically distribute artifacts.
Okay, I will.
The first target are container images, but we can extend that to other type of artifacts. I don't think it's stable, but it's, I would say alpha at least.
Okay, we can call it alpha.
Yeah.
We gotta call it something. So
Because the cap is not merged, so let's call it alpha. And in the enhancement report, you can basically filter that by the SIG label. So you, because I'm pretty sure there are many gaps in direct relationship with SIG release.
okay.
Yeah.
Promotion. Okay, yeah, not much.
Yeah, but at least those three are, I mean, basically Adolfo is working on both of them at the same time. So we are deeply involved in this.
Cool. I'm gonna leave it off for now, but we can add it in. We got 9 minutes. Let's get through the stuff that we can do real quick. Okay, sub-project owners auditing. So we have a list of all of our sub-projects that we own.
For last, I mean, the sub-project is mainly DNS. Yeah, DNS. Oh, the Google groups.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised. I thought the Google groups was responsibility of contracts.
do any of these have 2 or less owners in them?
Yep.
They do?
Well, basically, K8s Infra groups are owned by SIG contracts and teams mainly. OCI proxy is mostly K8s Infra, and K8s.io is basically K8s Infra. So we have at least 2 SIG technical leads per sub-project.
Yeah, all of these look okay in terms of people listed and owners. Are there any specific areas we want to call out that we need help for?
Documentation.
In anything specific?
Documentation of basically K8s.io sub-project.
All right. Anything, the more specifics we can provide, the better. So what do we need documented?
The service we propose to the community, because it's still not unclear what the community need to do with GCP or Amazon. We need to basically document the different services we propose to the community and how to consume them.
What else?
I'm not the right person to answer that question because I'm biased. I feel like someone in the call needs to answer that question. if anyone, I mean, anyone that have been around for a long time can answer that question, I would appreciate that, because I'm not sure. I have been this, I mean, I'm mainly know many stuff inside this repo. So I'm not sure what's needs
Mhm.
to be improved or not. What's the priority for this year? I know what
think
my
we-
main priority is documentation right now for this year and artifact management.
I think the Aaron's departure might be a thing that should be mentioned under project health, because he was really carrying a massive amount of the weight. So I
Yep.
think that's definitely something worth mentioning at project health at the top level.
How do we phrase that? This is a public document. So,
Yeah, we can, I think we can basically say that we are understaffed in terms of, well, we are understaffed in terms of responsibility.
yeah, but the bigger issue there is that we don't have clearly scoped out on-ramps for people to jump into, right? Because we have people come through this meeting wanting to contribute and don't have anything to point them at.
Yep.
So that's the bigger issue is,
Difficulty of on-ramping.
yeah, you're right, because
Winning
it's
people.
difficult.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about earlier today, Arno. So sometimes folks with some infra background want to jump in and help, but sometimes it's not clear. So there are issues that seem to suggest that they want to move things from Terraform from Bash to Terraform, but sometimes it seems like those efforts are like frozen. When I was opening the issue for the project, I wasn't I've been in this group like for 2 years now, and I wasn't even sure if I should open it in Terraform or not.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the migration. So we don't have I think how to phrase that better is basically, we can basically say, oh, use both, because long term we want to walk away from Bash long term. The main issue here is infrastructure management. Whatever tooling we are using, this is the main issue. We decide to choose Terraform because it's the most stable and mature tool in the ecosystem right now. Long term, it can be something else. We see progress in Crossplane, we see progress in Pulumi. We can go with that. I mean, I'm fine. But the main goal is, how we introduce end-to-end tests for infrastructure management. That's the issue. If we can have it, I mean, Cobb's doing that very well using Terraform. But Justin and Barbara opened an issue recently about exploring different tools, proposing the Kubernetes resource model for infrastructure management. It's something we can explore, but because we need to be focused on artifact management and Kubernetes signature, I don't want to add more burden on people because we are understaffed. Right now, my first goal the next, I would say 4 months, is make sure we have a solution that helps us reduce the cost burden and help SIG release be sure the content image assigned, because I think I see somewhere there's a promise to make sure Kubernetes have 124 sign with cosign. So I think my priority right now is that, just cost burden is signature. We can open issue and start the conversation about, let's migrate from Bash to Terraform. But for me, it's a conversation. It's one solution to the main problem.
Exactly. I think so I guess the meta problem here would be, what do you need help with? maybe expressing the needs of the SIG more
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah,
Since the SIG is new, most of us were helping from outside of SIG K8s Infra, but right now that it's a SIG on its own, maybe just as establishing some midterm goals and areas of opportunity for contributors would be a nice thing to do.
I will try to rephrase. We had an issue about this, but it got lost in the limbs of GitHub. I will try to basically open an issue and rephrase that in maybe a more refreshed perspective. I'll try to do something like that. But the one thing I want to say is we use open infrastructure because we use cloud providers. So not everyone can embark on this if they don't understand GCP.
Mm-hmm.
That's another constraint. Or they don't understand Amazon, which is, for me, open infrastructure. So we may even basically say, give access to someone to say, oh, write that Terraform code for doing this. But if the people don't understand the mechanisms of the cloud provider, is going to be extremely difficult for someone to onboard. That's also another constraint. And I don't even talk about trust between the different owner of the different sub-project. So it's a complicated conversation and we are out of time. So I don't know if you want to continue that right now. And welcome back, Gabriel. So
stepping back, as there's this article that we talk about a lot in the lead circle, and it's snacking. You've probably heard me share this before. Tim's the one who originally shared it to me. I'll paste it in the chat. And the idea is that, I'll just share my screen. And anyone that has to drop, feel free. I'm just going to ramble. But we have, right, so if we have this grid of impact of, effort to impact, and where everyone always wants to land is this low effort, high impact quadrant, right? Like that is the magic moneymaker. If you get work that lands in low effort, high impact, like that's great. Everyone wants to stay out of the high effort, low impact quadrant, right? No one really wants to be there. And so it's these other two quadrants that are worth talking about. And so the top one is our strategy and our mission, right? This is where our long-term vision is. High effort, high impact, right? This is where the leads need to be like focused on their time, laying the foundation for everyone else. And this bottom left corner is the dangerous one. And this is what this article calls snacking. And so the low effort, low impact thing is something you're like, oh, like that only took me 20 minutes of work, right? Like you did something, it made you feel good because you got something done, but it was a really low impact type of task. And as leads, we need to make sure that we're migrating to that top right corner. And that's the really hard part. And that's the thing that I struggle with too on the SIG CLI team, because I don't have anyone to be reviewing and triaging kube control issues, right? So that's what 90% of my time is just going through kube control reports. We need to figure out a way, and this goes for the whole project, right, to grow people into that top right quadrant. And some of that does start with the bottom left work. And so that's where we can think about scoping out more of that Terraform work, or I don't know, just it makes me sad to see people swing through like a 1 or 2 SIG meetings, not have anything to work on, and then kind of just like disappear and not come back. So as leads, that's what we have to figure out, is how do we give people something to get started on?
And that's, I want to say one of the complexity of K8s Infra is trust, delegation and trust, because we are K8s Infra, we are the plumbing under all that greatness. So it's gonna be difficult to basically onboard people, delegate and trust them, because there are risks related to that. And that's why I want to think about half end-to-end test for infrastructure, so we can automate all of that and basically start delegation. That's the main goal. Either we use Terraform, Bash, even Caleb came up with a new tool, writing in Rust. I'm fine with that. But if we are capable to do delegation and automators for every change we introduce in the infrastructure, we are fine. I mean, that's the goal. And it's not an easy thing to do. Jobs took years to make that happen. So we need to, I think that, and that's why I want to focus on basically the cost burden we have and the conversation we started with SIG release before we start that conversation. So we make sure, okay, we can carefully use the 3 million budget for this year. And when we have room about that, we can start the conversation about those kind of delegation. Please, right now, reduce the cost.
Yeah.
We are really out of time. Thank you, everyone, for attending this meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good
I
one.
hope to see you in 2
Happy to
weeks.
see you all.
Yeah.
Bye.